Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review. Next up is the Hasbro Marvel Legends series Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania Cassie Lang Build-A-Figure. Here we have the final video of the wave. This is the Build-A-Figure video of Cassie Lang. So I have all the pieces here. I've zoomed out kind of somewhat, and I know it's not going to be big enough to fit her in frame even still, so it's going to be crazy. So a lot of really nice pieces. The cool thing about this Build-A-Figure, it's nice when we get extra pieces for a Build-A-Figure. We don't often do it. Every now and then we'll get extra hands, which we do have here, but for Cassie Lang we actually get two separate head sculpts. So we have the helmeted head sculpt and we have the unhelmeted head sculpt, and they look pretty good. I see the actress in here. I don't think it's perfect, I don't think it's the best, but I do definitely see the resemblance to the actress. The helmet looks really good. I still find it weird that there is the flat portion on the back there. Not really sure why that is the case. Wasp's helmet design is actually quite similar, and it just really throws me off, but it's going to look good. The figure has a lot of really good articulation. I like that. We get the diaphragm cut with the inverted ab crunch, which is really nice. We get pinless double jointed knees and pinless double jointed elbows, so some really good things. So let's go ahead and piece Cassie Lang together. So we'll start with the feet. I have a right leg here. We're going to port that in. Ooh, that's tough. Yeah, lots of force to have to get that in. You can see there, her legs actually seem really long. I'd have to double check the actress if she has really long legs, you know, and how tall she is. I don't know if that's just going to happen to be, you know, that her legs are just super long. But those legs are very tight on there. And as you can see, she's extremely tall. So we'll see how it looks, you know, when I can get the head sculpts on there. So we'll go to the arms now. These arms, I'm worried here that they're going to pop off very easily. So there's not enough of a lip there to really hold it in place. So I think the arms might come off a little easy from time to time. And then the arms actually look very short in comparison to the legs. So body proportion wise, it just, you know, I have to take a look at that. If anything, her arms may seem short or the legs are just too long. Whatever the case may be, we'll see. Left arm, ports in there, nice and easy. Yeah, she's definitely going to be a tall one. Let's go with the helmeted head sculpt first. And bam! She is just too tall. Let me see. I'm going to have to move some of these figures out of the way. But yeah, there you go. You can see how tall she is. Let me see, back up a little bit. Ooh, up, bam. So there is Cassie along with the other figures in the wave, and you could just see that she is quite tall. Not quite like double the size, but she is quite tall. I will, spoiler alert, not going to do it right this second, but we'll do a comparison with the Giant Man deluxe figure, which was also just a repaint of the Build-A-Figure from Captain America Civil War, and then we'll take a look at, you know, the unmasked head sculpt and everything there. But so far, just putting the figure together is really nice. The texture detail of the sculpt and all of that is really awesome, and we'll take a closer look at all of that right now. Okay, so here we have a look at the Cassie Lang unhelmeted head sculpt, and I think I see the actress in there, that somewhat the resemblance. I don't think it's perfect. Usually at an angle is where you would really see it the most. I actually think when you see it at an angle, it actually looks a lot less like her. Cassie was not my favorite character from the movie. I actually felt like her voice was kind of annoying. I think they tried to make the actress sound younger than she really was, or something felt a little off to me. You know, other than that, I thought it was fine. You know, it was kind of a father-daughter story and things like that, so I had no real issue with the movie in that sense or anything. One thing that I found out by accident, and I don't know if it's supposed to be on purpose, but her ponytail comes out. It just kind of pegs in there. I don't know if it's supposed to be glued or if I kind of broke the glue in there. That does come off. You can just easily push it right back on, and then you have her hair. But a good looking head sculpt, but I am not going to ever like display this figure with this head sculpt. It's always going to have the helmeted head sculpt, which I think looks really good. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Let's pop this head off. Let's pop the one on there, and you could actually see the inside because you have the actual like facial portion that you could see through the lenses of the helmet. So you can actually see her eyes actually in there. Those look pretty good, but there is the helmet. I think the helmet looks great. It's just the flat portion on the back throws me off, but the helmet is awesome. I really like the sculpted detail in there. A little bit of that texture up at the top and everything like that. Tiny red spot there. Nice purples in there. Looks good. Now looking as far as the figure, the suit, and everything, the texture detail is awesome. So all the purple section has that nice texture detail to it, which is pretty great. You get a little bit of red paint there in the back, some silver paint. Other than that, not a huge amount of paint. A little bit of purple as it kind of wraps around. A little bit of silver around in the legs, and then we get, a tour of purple chucks there. But yes, solid looking figure. The paint apps look all really good. No real issues there, other than this crease in the fabric, because they sculpted like the crease fabric. It looks like the purple didn't quite hit in one little area there, unfortunately. But other than that, I have no real issues with the paint whatsoever. So that is pretty good. So yeah, now let's go ahead and zoom out and we'll take a look at her articulation. Look at the hands. Those are cool. Yeah, let's see how she moves. It's hard to keep Cassie in full frame while trying to go over the articulation. I'm sitting super far back to keep the camera back. I'm like, how can I reach? But we're going to try and get through this the best we can. The head sculpt is on a dumbbell joint, but Cassie can look up quite a bit, which is fantastic. Looking down, not so much. That's kind of basically the same as looking straight on out. Full rotation in there and dumbbell joint, which means we can get a lot of good pivot going on the shoulder. You can get the shoulder to easily go straight on out. Full rotation in that shoulder. There is the upper bicep swivel in there. Double jointed pinless elbow gives you that much bend there at the elbow. Wrist swivel, and they do hinge. The two fists that come on the arms out of the packages have the standard horizontal hinge. And then we have the two hands. So actually her right hand is a holding hand, and that actually has a vertical hinge, which is interesting because what is she going to hold? And then the left hand, though, open hand, just has the standard horizontal hinge. So one vertical hinge out of all the hands, which I think was a little bit of an interesting decision to make, because it just seems odd that we wouldn't get both of them, or what was the even need here, because what is she going to be wielding? And again, I only saw the movie once, unless there's something I'm forgetting towards the end of the movie that she may have held on to, but she doesn't come with an accessory to do it anyway, so there's that. The diaphragm cut, so she can tilt to her left that much. She can tilt to her right that much, which is good. Let's see, going back just on the diaphragm alone, she can go back that much, which is really good. On the diaphragm alone, she can come forward a little bit there. The inverted ab crunch and the diaphragm going back, she can go back a crazy amount that breaks her back, basically. Coming forward, when you use both, she can crunch forward that much, which is really good. There is no waist swivel, but you get the swivel at the diaphragm cut there. Legs go out that far apart, which is really good. Kicking forward, she can kick forward only that much, so that's not a huge range of motion. Unfortunately, leg goes back ever so slightly. Upper thigh cut, where the leg actually pieces together. Double jointed pinless knee, which gives us a very nice bend at the knee. So that is really good. Really like the way that came out. You would think that there would be a swivel at the shoe, the top of the shoe, but unfortunately there is no swivel. But the foot hinges down, as you could see. Hinging up, unfortunately, is going to be an issue. So not really going to be able to hinge that foot up, but you got ankle pivot and peg holes at the bottom of the feet. So there is Cassie Lang's articulation. One thing, when you move the torso back, as we zoom in, you can see the purple stops. The sculpted texture of the suit continues, but the purple ends up completely stopping. So just a heads up on that. So I was, in the middle of doing the review, I kind of get an idea in my head, and I want to take some pictures real quick. So I just wanted to kind of show this off a little bit, and this is probably the thumbnail image that you can kind of see there. But these figures all kind of being together are really nice. But it really makes me want a regular size Cassie Lang figure even more. Like, how awesome would it be to have the Ant-Man, Wasp, and Cassie Lang, whether she goes by Stature or Stinger? I think she has more of the Stinger colors. But how awesome would it be to have the three of them all the same size? I think that would be a lot better, but, you know, it's just one of those things that unfortunately we have the Build-A-Figure, which, you know, I'm not all that mad about because it's pretty damn awesome that we get it. But, you know, also to match in size would be cool. Maybe a 2-pack later on somewhere. You know, they have the sculpt, they have the digital sculpt of it. You know, they just got to scale it down. Probably not like the easiest thing to just say and like, oh, you know, they'll just make it happen. But it would be really cool if we got it in 6-inch and not the however tall this is, which I guess I should probably measure and see exactly how tall she is. Okay, so here's something interesting. I did measure. Cassie Lang is just over 10 inches, whereas the Ant-Man figure is probably just under 10 inches. Cassie is taller than the Build-A-Figure / deluxe release of a Giant Man or Giant Ant-Man. I don't know if he ever was officially Giant Man, but from Captain America Civil War. But Cassie is taller, and you can see how much longer her legs are. Like, it's ridiculous. I think proportionally, they just went with the legs being way too long for Cassie Lang. So, unfortunately, she is taller than her dad. Oh, I can't get it, like, super sideways. Let me just cut out the feet a little bit so you guys could see it better. I know it kind of looks like they might be the same height, but the Cassie Lang figure is definitely a little bit taller. And then, again, I blame the super long legs for that. But either way, it is kind of cool to have these together. You know, there's a lot of textured detail on this Giant Man, which is cool. But it's got pins. You know, Cassie's pinless, so that makes it even better. And then the suit itself doesn't really match up, you know, in terms of like the Cassie Lang, because, you know, all the texture in the same spots, plus, you know, the round chest piece, which kind of, you know, houses their suit. Things like that. But again, a Cassie in this size would have just been so much better if we had gotten that in the first place. But, you know, it is what it is. So it's really hard to fit Cassie all the way in. Like, I have her pushed almost all the way to the back here. But here is how Cassie looked compared to the movie figures from the wave: Ant-Man, Wasp, and Kang the Conqueror. Just imagine if she was shorter and was the same height as Wasp, or a little bit shorter even, would be so cool. But even still, as Stature or Stinger or Cassie Lang, just going with her name, really good Build-A-Figure. Again, I think the legs are too long, but it's really awesome that we see another large Build-A-Figure again. Like, lately, you know, the Build-A-Figures haven't been so large, or we haven't gotten a lot of Build-A-Figures, right? So I'm trying to think back on some of the waves. You know, an upcoming Spider-Man wave doesn't have a Build-A-Figure. The Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse wave, you know, there was no Build-A-Figure. There was no Build-A-Figure in that Spider-Man wave. What other waves did I get? Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmo was a smaller figure. Avengers wave is really starting to hit a lot now, which have Puff Adder. He was a little bit of a larger one. Chod is coming soon. Big Bad Toy Store, it's already shipped. It's on the way. That's not the biggest, you know, Build-A-Figure. And I'm trying to think what other wave had come before that. Or maybe it was just those two, and I can't really think back to when the last Build-A-Figure wave I had gotten was. But it's nice to see a really tall Build-A-Figure again, because we just don't see it nearly as often as we really used to. Not that they were even all like this tall, but just a larger figure in general, which is, you know, quite nice. So I'm just going to go one final comparison. We have our two Cassie Lang figures, so the MCU version and the comic version. Here she is Stinger. Here, you know, the fact she grows makes her a little bit more of a stature, but the purple color kind of lends me to think like, oh, it kind of matches with that of Stinger, whereas I think in stature her costume was red and black, unless I'm mistaken on that. But a solid Build-A-Figure for sure that I'm really happy about. I love movie figures, so I love that we got this Cassie Lang, but again, I want a regular size version too, because I want them all. Like I want every version that we could possibly get. I want a large Ant-Man too. Let's get one of those. Unfortunately, I don't think we will, but you know, I am happy with Cassie Lang. I just want even more. But I'm definitely happy with the way the Build-A-Figure came out. Okay, so to finish out this video, I'm actually going to do a wave ranking. I typically do that. I don't usually include the Build-A-Figure. So if I wanted to rank this wave, how would I rank it? I'm actually going to go with Wasp number 1, MCU Wasp number 1, MCU Ant-Man number 2. I'm going to go Future Ant-Man number 3, Crossfire number 4, Kang the Conqueror number 5, Ultron number 6, and Egghead number 7. and I guess and that could change at any given moment. When I just look at the figures overall, like, oh, how do they look and things like that, that's how I would rank. Wasp was definitely the surprise one for me. Like, I did not think I would really like this Wasp figure as much as I do, which is kind of crazy. Like, I would have been like, oh, Wasp, that's not going to be that great of a figure. I mean, it'll be decent enough. It'll be kind of down there. But, you know, my favorite figure of the wave, you know, shocked the shit out of me because I thought it was going to be King the Conqueror. And I'm surprised I didn't put him at the bottom. It's just, you know, the sculpted detail and everything and the paint on there, it all looks really good. So I hate to, you know, to lower that figure all the way down to the bottom. But, you know, the sculpt of it, right? It's like, oh, and the articulation of it. It's like, ah. But anyway, some decent, solid figures in the wave. You guys let me know down in the comments below. How would you rank the wave? Which ones are your favorite figures? The MCU ones are clearly my favorite ones. Always will be. King the Conqueror, even still, you know. But the future Ant-Man is actually a really good looking figure. Crossfire is a really good looking figure as well. Ultron, we knew what we're getting into. Egghead is, I mean, the head sculpt is fantastic. Don't get me wrong, but you know, there's not a whole lot else going on, you know, with the figure. But you guys let me know your ranking and your favorite figures down in the comments below, and what you think of the Cassie Lang Build-A-Figure. I think it's a solid figure. The unmasked head sculpt is good. I'm not going to use it, but it is really good. It's nice to get interchangeable hands for the figure. The legs are a little bit long, but I can live with that. So there we go. So you guys let me know down in the comments below. Are you getting all the figures to build Cassie? You're going to pick and choose, or maybe just buy the Build-A-Figure separately or buy the pieces separately? Let me know in the comments below. If you guys liked this video, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. Hit that join button to become a channel member and be a part of the MCU collective. And as always, thank you for watching.